Listen, the only reason I'm going out of my way to tell any of you this is because the story, Jane the Killer, is starting to piss me off. My real name is Jane Arkansas, aka Jane the Killer. And this is how I met Jeff, the reason I look the way I do, and why I want to kill him. When I heard that a new family had moved in across the street, I wasn't that surprised. It was a nice neighborhood, and the house was relatively cheap, considering where it was. I guess I was about 13, 14 when everything went to hell. I never really talked to Jeff when he moved in. To be frank, I never talked to him until that night. But it's too soon to talk about that now. My first impression of Jeff was that he was a good kid. Probably got nice grades, really got into fights, maybe even a cool guy if he opened up to someone. His brother Louie seemed like he would put family first by the way he sat with his brother on the sidewalk. Of course, I was just guessing at the time and really didn't pay much thought into my analysis because I was getting ready for school when I looked out the window and was running late, which was unusual for me at the time in my life because I was hardly ever late for anything, especially school. I wasn't surprised when I saw Randy and his goons go up to Jeff and Louie on that stupid skateboard of his. Randy was nothing but a bully. He always picked on anyone who was smaller than him. He was even the reason why my parents drove me to school instead of letting me take the bus like everyone else. Everyone had their lunch money or some kind of cash given to Randy and his goons because of some toll that he demanded from everyone. We all knew Randy's group had knives and threatened to use them on us whenever we told anyone about the money they took from the other kids on the block. Everyone except the new kids. They were trying to intimidate them like the rest of us. When I saw Randy talking to them through the window, I just looked away. It was a wussy thing to do, but I had better things to do than watch another kid hand over his money to Randy. But curiosity got the better of me, and I looked up a few seconds later. What I saw left me speechless. Jeff was standing now, and it looked like Randy already had what he wanted. Just sit down, I thought. Don't be stupid. Then I saw Jeff punch Randy in the face and break his wrist. Oh my God, I whispered. Then I yelled, "You idiots!" My parents ran down the stairs and asked what happened. Then they looked outside and saw what was going on. Jeff had already cut the skinny guy, I think his name was Keith, and he went down screaming. Troy only went down with a single punch, since my house was across the street from where Jeff and his brother were sitting, with the front of the house having big windows. We saw the whole thing, or at least I did. My parents came in after the part where Randy stole their wallet, so they didn't know the whole truth. It was disturbing watching Jeff fight. He was enjoying himself too much. I felt a knot in my stomach, like something was happening that shouldn't be. And from the look on Lou's face, Jeff didn't do this kind of thing often. Next thing I know, I hear sirens, and the new kids bolted out of there. The cops came around with the bus shoveler to check on the victims. It seems they were going to be alright, considering the amount of crap kicked out of them. Since my parents' policy was no cops, ever since my dad got frightened by a narc cop when he wanted to draw attention off of himself when police were investigating the case of the missing coke. It ended with my dad quitting the force, so when we heard sirens, we went to the backyard, got into the car, and left. When my parents drove me to school, they told me very clearly that they didn't want me to talk to Jeff ever. I did not disagree with them. I had art first period, so I didn't see Jeff until close to the end of school. I can still see the colors in my artwork if I think hard enough, but when I try to look at anything else, It all seems gray. I guess that's the price someone pays for losing their innocence. I didn't see Jeff until the final period of the day. When I did see him, when I did, he seemed off. At first, I thought he was just faking the joy so people wouldn't suspect him for the crime that he did. But he really was enjoying himself. It wasn't because he was excited to be at school. I could tell that much from him. The smile he wore looked sadistic to me. It was the smile of a madman. The second the bell rang, I bolted out the doors as fast as I could. Nobody but me knew what Jeff really was. A freak. The next day seemed to be passing without incident at first. Then I saw the police car in front of Jeff's house. Looks like they got you, I thought. Nobody could have gotten away with something like that. You know, with the neighborhood watching everything. But I was wrong with who they arrested. Instead of coming out with Jeff like I expected they would, the police came out with Louis, his brother. I was barely from the thought of Jeff blaming his brother for the assault when he came out of the house yelling at Louis. Louis, tell him I did it. I was able to hear him this time because the front door was open to my house. I couldn't hear what Louis said in reply to Jeff's outburst, but it was definitely not what Jeff wanted to hear. A few seconds later, the police drove off with Louis, and Jeff was outside with his mother. A few minutes later, she went inside the house and left Jeff outside. Although I couldn't hear him from across the street, I could tell that he was crying, but who wanted to be in this situation? The next day, rumors were spreading like wildfire about Louis. It took so long for the rumors to get started because everyone was afraid to talk about Randy getting his ass handed to him. When it was revealed that he wouldn't be coming back to school for a few days, everyone decided to take advantage of that and enjoy as much as possible. And lots of random bullshit started popping up. I heard Louis cut off Kate's arm. Oh yeah? Well, I heard that Louis hit Troy so hard in the stomach that he racked up blood. That's nothing. I heard that he punched Randy so hard in the nose that it came out the back of his head, and etc., etc., etc. Personally, I didn't want anything to do with Jeff or his brother, but he just looked so alone and upset that I had to do something. So I wrote him a note telling him that he had a friend in this place and that I was going to testify at Lou's trial about what really happened. I left a note at his desk signed with a letter, J, before class started, then left the room. When I came back, Jeff was at his desk and the note was gone. Saturday rolled around, and I was at home alone with my parents who were at work. The kid next door was having a birthday party. At the time, I left my window open because I wanted a nice breeze in my room while I did my homework. But the kids were getting so loud that I decided to close my window. I was about to close it when I saw Jeff playing with the kids. He was running around wearing one of those fake cowboy hats and carrying a toy gun. He looked so ridiculous I had to laugh. Maybe he isn't the monster I think he is. I thought, ashamed of myself for suspecting he could have been one. As I was closing the window, I saw Randy, Keith, and Troy jump over the fence on their skateboards to where Jeff was. Not again, I said to the open window. I saw Randy and Jeff exchange small talk, but I couldn't hear what they said over the sound of kids yelling and screaming. Then Randy rushed at Jeff and tackled him. I was about to grab the phone and dial 911 when I heard Troy and Kat shout, "No one interrupts or guts will fly." I looked out the window again and saw that they both had matching guns in their hands. I couldn't have called for help without endangering the lives of others. I couldn't have called 911 anyway. The battery to my phone was dead. Jeff was on his side, getting kicked by Randy in the face when he grabbed his foot and twisted it. Randy fell over, and Jeff tried to walk back to the house when Troy grabbed him by the collar and threw him toward the house. I heard glass break, and I knew what they were going to do. Kill him. "Randy, you asshat!" I screamed at him, but he couldn't hear me over the sound of kids screaming. I couldn't wait anymore, so I ran to my parents' bedroom and searched for Dad's cell phone, hoping that he got it at home. Forgot it at home. My heart was pounding my chest, knowing that the longer it took for me to get help, the higher the chance of someone getting killed was. I finally found the phone underneath the bed. I wasted no time punching in numbers. 911. Hello? I heard help. There's an emergency going on next door. Some guys jumped the fence and are beating up someone. They got guns. You need to hurry, please. Okay, miss, I need you to tell me the address and I'll send help right away. I quickly told her address and address of the house next door. Please hurry. I said, it's okay, just stay on the lawn. Bang, bang, bang. I heard loud gunshots come from next door. I yelped and dropped the phone. It landed on the ground and broke. Then I ran to my bedroom window to try and figure out what was going on, but no sooner had I poked my head out the window, I heard the whistle of fire and the screaming. I'm going to make Jeff scream like that again when I find him. The only thing I can compare to is the death cry of an animal. It was at the time for me horrifying, but now it sounded like music to me. And there was nothing I want to hear more in the world than him screaming. I saw fire spew out of the house like an angry dragon. I ran downstairs immediately and got into the portable fire extinguisher from the kitchen and ran outside. As I was running, I popped the pin for extinguisher for immediate use. Luckily, the door was unlocked as I barged in, but when I saw Jeff, I completely froze. He was lying at the bottom of the stairs, almost completely on fire, with adults trying to put it out. I saw bits of his skin through all the commotion, some parts pink, some parts charred, but it was all covered in red. At the sight of all of this, I screamed and then passed out. Last thing I remember is some of the adults running towards me, whether it was to help me or get the fire extinguisher, I don't know. When I came to, I was in a hospital bed wearing one of those gowns that patients wear. A nurse came in a few minutes later. She had long brown hair in a bun hidden underneath a hat. She looked like she didn't want to be there. I asked her what happened. All I know is that you were brought in with a few other kids because you fell and hit your head on a fire extinguisher, she said, annoyed. A fire extinguisher? I reached up my hand and touched my head. God, I'm messing up. I felt bandages and large bumps the size of an orange. Then I remember, oh, Jeff, one of the guys that came in with me, the one with the burns, is he going to be alright? She sighed. Listen, there was 2 boys that were brought in with you that had burns, and no, I'm not letting you see him just because he's your boyfriend. I felt the heat rise to my face. He is my boyfriend. I'm just worried about him. Wouldn't you be worried about someone who you just saw burning alive in front of you? I tried to keep my voice steady, but my voice quivered enough to make it sound like I was lying. Whatever, your parents are here, by the way. Want to see them? She asked. Yes, of course, anything to get away from this, the nurse. My parents came and the nurse finally left. They asked what happened. I told them everything, the fight, the note, all of it. I knew that Randy was no good, my mom said. So, have you heard anything about Jeff's condition? I asked. No, not a thing, said my dad. We just got here as soon as we heard about what happened to you. But who told you? I asked. I didn't think I saw anyone at the party that my family knew. The hospital caught us. And mom said. Well, I guess that makes sense. I made it absolutely no sense to me, of course. How could someone be able to identify me without me having any form of identification? I looked at the doorway and saw a man and woman standing in there. My parents followed my gaze and saw them too. Excuse me, but is this Jane's Arkansas's room? The woman asked. Yes, my mother said. My mom answered, who are you? I'm Margaret, and this is Peter, my husband. She gestured to the man beside her. We're Jeff's parents. I sat up in my bed. I'm Isabel. This is my husband, Greg, and our daughter, Jane. Mom gestured to me. I'll finish this in the next episode. See ya.